do we want to reap the reality of love? Then if that is the case, then we have to make an investment into wanting to reap the reality of anything. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm not being unsympathetic. This kind of reality of having love in our mind and control us is not going to come like this. It's not going to come to the click of a finger. It's not going to come with a magic wand. It's not going to come just because we say we want to do it. Because as we're brought up into this world, every day that we live, the whole reality of lust is there flashing itself in front of our face. The promises of the perfect happening, the appearance that people showcase of having that perfect happening, of having this, of having that, will not go away. The billboards are still going to be there to entice us. Pretty faces and everything else, and people going like this, very happy, much more photogenic than myself, will still be there to try to entice you to buy into something. And that's not going to happen. So I am sympathetic. This is not, and I'm not putting any religion down or any philosophy of heaven or hell thing. It's just this is where we are. And through growth, we want a new reality to start exerting existence in our mind to kill a reality that is making us unhappy, empty, angry. It makes us lose out on the whole reality and beauty that is life. But here's the thing, and I've said earlier, in one of my videos, just because we're in a place where we're victimized doesn't mean we have to stay there. And if we don't want to stay there, ultimately, where does the journey start? It starts in here. It starts with our thinking. And ultimately, we have to give ourselves to either one or the other. And the way that we give a thumbs up to one or the other is saying it's like, okay, I want either lust or love to have a place in my mind. So I will invest thoughts that will reap the reality of either one or the other. See, the reality is already there. Love is already there. It's not, hey, how's it going? Or it's going to show up and then all of a sudden, it's just there. The reality is there. It's for us to awaken our minds to the reality that exists. It's just kind of there, standing there, waiting for you to open that door. The reality of love is waiting for us. Now here's something, it might be a bit of a tongue, actually no, it's not a tongue jerker, it sounds pretty good actually. What we sow is what we grow. What we grow is what we know. And through the reality that we know, as we know the case, we have our flow. And that flow sustains itself out of habit. Not only are we caught in salesmanship, but we are caught in a habit. But the good thing about habit is that habits can be broken. That's a good thing about them. They're hard to break sometimes, but they can be broken and they can be replaced by another habit that will suffocate that. So, seeing as it is that we know what we're reaping out of lust, we know what the pros are happenings. Getting more money, getting more acceptance, this and that. And those happenings can bring happiness. And that's very alluring and that is very enticing for anybody to want to fight against that. Now, I want to be careful what I say about this. Just because, like, if you want to go to college, if you want to do this and better yourself, some people will be like, well, if you take goals away, then you're going to take ambition. No, there's an element of nature, as I spoke in the case with love. If who you are is this and for that, you will be gravitated. And through that gravitation, of course, you'll think things, but things can gravitate you. If you feel like you want to help people, if you want to become a counselor, this or that, just nature will push you that way. And then you'll want to grow. It's within our beings to want to grow. And it's also in our beings, this and that. So that's to grow and basically go a certain direction, and we're going to feel that tug. So that's not the same thing as creating something in our minds for the sake of a happening. It's not the same thing. I just want to be careful not to mix those two. And people get the misconception that goals are a bad thing. Goals are actually a very good thing. It's good to have hope and faith, provided that it is not an illusion of a happening for the sake of a certain sense of happiness that allures you. It's just the whole aspect of nature gravitating you through who you are to where you should be in a mind that's set for self-sacrifice. So I want to be very careful about that because people can misconstrue or misunderstand sometimes. And people like myself have a responsibility to, or anybody in general, when they explain themselves, they have a responsibility to make themselves known so there's no misunderstandings. Right. Okay. So anyhow, as I was saying, not to sidetrack anything else, but it was important to bring that to fruition and understanding. We know what the reality of lust is. We know what the reality of lust is. We know the pros and we know the cons. The cons is, if you're stuck in that place in your mind that you're not awakened to the beautiful things around you. And if you're not awakened to the beautiful things around you, then you're not going to be aware of the awesome people trying to talk to you, of the awesome things you see. And just going after that one happening, you deprive yourself of so many different possibilities and happenings that could make you feel good by themselves, without you even having to try to go to that place in your mind. That place in your mind that you want for happening is making you miss out on the whole parade of life, which is full of great happenings, which is full of possibilities, which is full of potential possibilities of meeting great people, and then having some of those people having great ideas that can be a blessing in your life. Also, through reaping that, you're losing out time, which falls into the same thing as that. And inherently, you lose a life of purpose if it's dedicating for one that. And here's the thing. When a lot of us don't get to that place in our minds, then that's when anger comes into existence. That's when depression comes into existence. That's when stress can come into existence. And when we get all these things too, realities that are not there come to be self-made in our minds. And not only do we feel this anger, not only do we have this in our minds, but outside of our minds, if we feel anger, if we feel jealousy, if we want to do malice, if we feel sadness, then this might want to motivate us to get angry at people, to be rude to other people, to gossip, do this and this and that, and create a reality like that that otherwise doesn't have to be there. And that's a destructive one. So we know the pros and the cons. Now, with that being said, we know the cons out of investing into love. We lose ourselves out of using our imagination to create a perfect happening. And, if that's the case, and we're not so dead set against something, then we reap the here, the now, the everything, the possibilities to be awakened to so much more than what we fabricate in our mind. But that's just one thing. To either know what you're going to reap, follow through this, and you'll come to an understanding. As for the equation of lust, if love isn't your cup of tea, reality is not going to go away as it is. It's still going to be there to wait for your arrival, and it's still going to be more than happy to greet you and allow you to reap what comes from it, which we know. Here's the road. Here's the road. We've been down that road before. And we know what's there. Now, some people are going to say to me, and follow through the next video,